So we have an update and some good news for British registered vehicles which are still here in Spain, unregistered, and need to be registered here in Spain. Okay, so just to take one step back, as we know now, the DGT, which is the traffic authorities, consider all British vehicles to be non-EU vehicles. When I say non-EU vehicles, I mean they consider them to come from a country that is not within the EU, which means that to finally register the car at the end of the process, you need to have passed the customs and excise process and have proof of that. Now, up till now, there's been a lot of confusion because some areas for the first 90 days of the year were accepting proof that the vehicles had been here without passing customs and excise. It was very dealt with on a case-by-case basis. Then after about 90 days, they completely shut the door and kept asking for DUA documents, which I'll explain a bit more about in the future, up to the point where now, at the beginning of last month, they have issued what they call a Nota informativa, which basically has stated the 3 forms of proof that they will accept for a UK registered vehicle to go to the final registration stage. Okay, so we're going to explain now. Right, so as I've said, and I'm repeating myself again, vehicles from the UK are now considered non-EU vehicles for importation purposes. Which means, as I said before, they have to go through the customs and excise process. Up till now, that process has involved either A, presenting it to customs and excise for change of residence, which means that if you've got the correct documentation, i.e. you can prove where you lived in the UK and you can prove where you've moved to in Spain and all your documents add up, then all you would have to do would be to go to customs and excise or pay a customs agent, which is what we'd highly recommend you do, to complete the process, and you wouldn't pay import tax and duty on that vehicle, and they would issue you with a DUA document, which is proof that you have gone through that process and used at the final registration stage with the DGT, which is the traffic authorities. Now, a lot of people have come unstuck with this process because maybe they have been here a lot longer than they should have been before registering as residents. When the import agents have put their details into the system, they've been able to verify they've been here through padron certificates or whatever, and they have actually blocked them from waiving the tax. Okay, so we've had a few of those where people haven't been able to waive the tax because although they've recently become a resident in Spain, they've actually been here too long and they can't produce the correct documentation. But for all people who are moving here, whether it be from the UK or any other country which is non-EU, if you're bringing your personal belongings, including your car, you shouldn't have to pay tax with the right documentation. Okay, so number 2, what happens if you can't do that? Well, you have to pay tax. If you can't do that, basically you go to the customs and excise, or again, you use an agent, which again, I would say we highly recommend, and he will present, or she will present the documents on your behalf, and they will give you back a price, and the price will include VAT on the value of that item. If it's a vehicle, for example, basically what they do is they take the value from the BOE, which is the, let's call it the Spanish Gazette, the Spanish Book of Prices, or they will take the value from an official invoice. They then reduce it by the age of the vehicle, which gives you today's market value. To that value, they will charge you 21%. And 10% duty. The 10% duty actually carries 21% as well on top of that. So you pay VAT on the duty and on the overall price of the vehicle. A bit cheeky, but never mind. So, and once you've finished that process and you've paid that money, then you will get a DUA document. The DUA document is what you use at Traffico to prove it's been passed through customs and you can register your vehicle. Okay, but now, what is the update? Well, the update is that they have now issued, the DGT issued a Nota informativa, which said that if you can prove that the vehicle has EU status through a certificate, which is called certificado, estatuto, aduanero de mercancías de la unión, which I'm reading from here because I don't have it in my head and I've got one in front of me. Yay! And this happens to be our first one. So they said, if you can prove this, then you do not have to pay taxes on the import of the vehicle. And this is specifically for vehicles which were here last year, haven't been registered, but should be still considered EU vehicles because they were here in the EU before the end of last year. Okay, so this is where the confusions come with. People have been arguing about this, whether they should be EU vehicles, whether they not shouldn't be EU vehicles, etc., etc. So eventually they've come to this decision and they've said, if you go to Customs and Excise and say, I'm going to repeat it again, you want a certificado, this is the difficult word, estatuto, my Spanish is good, but even I struggle with that one, aduanero de mercancías de la unión, okay? So you can go to the DGT, register your provisional plates if you need them, or register your final plates if your vehicle's already been passed through the ITV. Now, we initially went to Customs and Excise and said, look, we've got this brilliant Nota Informativa, what's this all about? And they went, don't know. Don't know. So anyway, it's taken a few days to sort of the process to come to light at Customs, but now it has done. And to get the certificate, you do have to present certain documentation. So you have to present proof that the vehicle was here. So that could be a ticket, a ferry ticket. The ferry ticket must specifically put the interested party's name on it and the registration for the vehicle. Also, if it's a vehicle which is less than 5 years old, or you've taken ownership of that vehicle less than 5 years ago, they're asking for an invoice. At the moment, what else? If it's an older vehicle, if it's a vehicle of over 15,000 euros, for some reason they don't want to issue this certificate, which I can't understand personally, the difference between a vehicle which was here last year, which was worth 15,000 euros or more or less, whether that should be considered EU or not. That's something that we're sort of battling with now, and hopefully they will get rid of that. This got to be illegal, to be honest with you. But anyway, so we work with, I think I mentioned this twice already, an import agent who handles this part of the process for us, because you'd have to be a lunatic to try and do it yourself. That's the honest truth. But we're getting our first ones through. As I say, I've got our first one here, and we've got a few more already that seem to be going through very well. And with this document, you don't have to pay any tax on vehicles that were here last year in Spain if they were registered, if they're UK registered vehicles. So great news for people who still haven't registered their vehicles.